The eukaryotic cell cycle. First of all, I'll explain to you what happens in each phase, then I'll show it to you at a faster pace. The cell cycle is a process of growth and division that most eukaryotic cells follow. These events are made up of three phases: interphase, mitosis, and cytokinesis. Interphase is the growth stage, mitosis is a nuclear division, and cytokinesis is the cytoplasmic division. During interphase, the cell goes through growth and metabolic activity. Interphase is generally the longest phase of the cell cycle. Out of a 24-hour cycle, interphase would last 23. Interphase is broken down into three other stages called G1, S, and G2. During the G1 or gap-1 phase, cells increase in size and synthesize proteins, as well as carrying out their normal cellular functions. Along with the G2 phase, these two stages are periods of intense growth and activity. Next comes an S phase, also known as the synthesis phase. During this phase is when DNA is combined and chromosomes are replicated. At the end of this phase, the cell contains double the amount of DNA than it did at the start. The last stage of interphase is the G2 phase. During this part of the cycle, the cell continues to grow and prepare for cell division. G2 is the shortest of the three phases. Next comes mitosis. Mitosis consists of four stages: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Before I talk about prophase, I'll explain the structure of a chromosome. A chromosome is made up of two identical chromatids and attached by a centromere. The first phase of mitosis is prophase, which is usually the longest. During prophase, the chromosomes become visible, shorter, and thicker. The nuclear envelope breaks down and spindle fibers form as microtubules grow out of the centrioles, which move to opposite poles of the cell. After prophase comes metaphase. Metaphase is usually the shortest. During this stage, the chromosomes line up along the center of the cell, called the equator, and the microtubules attach to each sister chromatid. The third phase of mitosis is anaphase. Anaphase begins when the sister chromatids of each chromosome begin to separate. The centromere divides and the chromosomes move away from each other along its spindle fiber. The final stage of mitosis is telophase. In telophase, the two groups of chromosomes reach the opposite ends of the cell. As a new nuclear envelope starts to form around each group, the chromosomes uncoil and spindles disappear. Cytokinesis is the last stage of the cell cycle. This is where the division of the cytoplasm and organelles occurs. The result of the cell cycle is two identical cells. Cancer. Cancer is an abnormal cell growth, which is a result in a mutation to genes that control cell division. These two genes are proto-oncogenes and tumor suppressor genes. Proto-oncogenes encourage cell division, while tumor suppressor genes suppress cell division. The balance between the two keeps cells dividing at an appropriate pace. If one of these cells were to mutate, then cells would replicate faster and take over healthy cells. The result is a growth called a tumor. There are two types of tumors, benign tumors and malignant tumors. Benign tumors only cause problems if they put pressure on nearby tissues, such as the brain. Malignant tumors are much more serious because they invade the surrounding body tissues and spread throughout the body through bloodstreams. Risk factors that could cause cancer include smoking, radiation, UV light, chemicals, and cancer in the family. Cancer has a high rate in affecting people over 60 because as you get older, your systems become less effective, including the reproduction of cells.